I wonder when we're ever going to get snow again.
Oh, I mean, if you don't love snow, it's been a great winter.
Yes, it's been very mild.
Very rainy though.
Okay, I have to drop my quality.
I need to mute us.
I'm going to figure it out. Where is it?
When you hover over the...
This one?
No. Yeah.
Yes. And then you just put it like low. Oh, yeah. Good morning. Hello. It's not spring yet, but I'm pretending like it is.
It's warm out.
It is warm. Mm-hmm. I love watching everybody say good morning.
It is. It's like old friends getting together.
Many of you noticed the Firebird Fairy's new look. So she is the product of the female figure course. Mm-hmm. I decided I love the original Fiber Fairy so much, but she was getting a little tattered. Plus, we're always learning new things, and I'm very happy with her. I love her hair. So we sometimes we set out and we think we're just going to make a small Fiber Fairy because the next one is the biggest one of the year. But it did, this is a kind of a substantial Fiber Fairy. We have 2 ounces of off-white chunky core, which we all need and use very much. And then we have the Azure and Fuchsia bundle, which is also 2 ounces. And these are, this is a core line that we're probably not going to have anymore. And they're nice, vivid, bright colors. And then I put together a top coat bundle and a merino bundle for the Hummingbird revisit because I have made some wired wings and tails using the feather tutorial. And so I put together some colors that you can use if you are inspired to make a hummingbird. And I'll talk about the hummingbirds that I made recently and how I did it. I believe there is talk of a hummingbird box.
Yes.
That'll be fun.
That is just going to happen.
Yeah.
So Gretchen has been so good about the boxes. I don't know how many have there been. There's been
5 or 6.
Pumpkin, sprites. Yeah, there's been a lot.
Nests. Bunnies.
So the hummingbird one will be coming, and Gretchen will be putting information about that on Fanfare on Facebook.
What I love about hummingbirds is the amounts of fiber are so small. You can hit your little wool bit stash. Mm-hmm. You can blend a lot because you're just blending very small amounts of color. When I made these, I used the one that I'm going to demonstrate with. I actually used different fiber from what's in the Fiber Fairy. But this one and the one that's hovering in front of the Fiber Fairy were mainly made with the Fiber Fairy colors. Added some green because I do like that chartreuse color in there. And hummingbirds are so varied. They come in so many different colors. So it's one of those fun projects.
Well, so we have a hummingbird tutorial, like a mini tutorial, but then on the tacky wrap video, did we do a hummingbird?
We did a felt along.
Okay, so there's updated tutorials. So I would suggest
checking them out.
Probably the felt along.
The felt along,
because the wire is used versus the toothpick, and then we'll have this added wing.
So yeah, in the original, I used a toothpick for the beak.
Yes.
And I don't love that because it's breakable.
You actually break it.
You break it in the tutorial on purpose. That's a part of it. But we switched to either just a cloth covered, one of the cloth covered wires. We have black now, or the dark tacky wrap sticks, which makes wrapping the beak very easy and you can get it pretty petite. And then just use the wire to wrap to make the body. So that was a development. And now with the feather tutorial, we can make sort of more delicate, realistic wings and tails. And so that's what I'm going to show you guys today. Yeah, but there's an evolution to things. If we could magically mash up all the tutorials, I would, but you kind of have to bounce around to get the whole picture. So,
well, and we definitely found there's a lot of updated techniques on the felt-alongs, which are listed and linked on the website under the free tutorials page. There's a just for fun.
The felt-alongs are in just for fun.
They are. It does say in the description the felt-alongs are in there, but those are listed. Some are multiple parts, but there's a lot of those.
On the YouTube channel, the felt-alongs are a playlist.
Yes.
Okay.
As well.
So there's a couple of ways to get to our videos. One is through the website, which has everything broken down into different categories under free tutorials. And then the other one is to go through the YouTube channel. And if you click on playlists, it's all sorted out. And we have videos embedded in each listing for supply packs.
Yes.
So if you click on a tool or a supply pack, the video is right there in the listing on the website. Any questions so far?
I am not. Well, there was a question about the box and if you lived out of the country, which I believe the box has just been domestic. I don't know if somebody, for example, in Canada, because there's a lot of Canadian felters.
Does the person that's sending it pay the shipping to the next person?
Yes. So I vaguely remember a conversation about the box starting and how it was going to be in the U.S. But if there was a Canadian person that wanted to start one, or a UK, just to keep it within
that's
country,
a good idea.
it does save.
So you can have the UK version?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those who ship abroad and order from us know how much it costs to send stuff over there. So there could be boxes and countries. There's Gretchen.
Yeah.
And yes, then people in Canada or the UK, someone just said it would incur an extra cost. Even if you're getting a gift in some places, you're paying customs on it. So it's best to keep it in country. But
yeah, so that's a good option. Someone would have to
start one
volunteer.
in their own,
yeah,
to organize it and keep it going. So
so speaking of felt-alongs, we were talking recently about the felt-alongs, and Kyla said, how many felt-alongs do you think we did in 2020? And I don't know what I was thinking. I think I said 4 or 6.
I thought you said 6 or 7.
Okay. Yeah. And so I have the number here.
We never did a felt-along.
Does anyone want to guess?
Yeah.
I'll let you guys guess. So
don't go count.
I would say do it by the number of actual live streams. So like some were more than one. And see if let's see what kind of guesses we get.
And you have like a minute to guess.
A minute to guess. And it was we had never done that before. It was pandemic driven.
Yeah, we've never done a felt-along before.
So
we have a couple guesses. 2 people said 20, someone said 12, another 12, and 11.
Yes. And it was from April to October, basically. So it wasn't even the whole year.
16, 8, 23, 15, 26.
Well, now I don't have the number. Do you remember? I mean, I could count it.
I'm pretty sure I think it was like 23.
Yeah. So this is good.
Right? 8
yes.
and 9. That's what we thought.
That's what we thought. Like 8, 9.
Oh, we did like a bunny one. And then
so
we did a list.
We did a list. It was 23. So we did the bunny. We did the chicks. We did hummingbirds, goldfish, snails was 2, sleepy squirrels. The mermaid was 4. The flowers were 2. Sleepy mice, nest, gnome was 2. Witch was 3. We did a real gnome?
A full-size gnome.
Oh my gosh.
I worked on that one. I have him at home.
Oh my gosh. And the witch was 3.
Baby penguin also.
Oh, where
December,
did I miss
festival.
that? Oh, okay,
That
there it is,
probably
baby
went with
penguin.
a fiber fairy, but
And we also did, in addition to all of those things, we did bees, the goose, the 2D rooster, the horse on the Annex. Why does it say Bunny Puff Revisited? What was that one?
that's the new.
Oh,
the
refilmed the Bunny Puff.
the
Yeah,
redo with the
redo.
fur.
So we were in high gear in 2020.
yes, if
Pandemic
you-
can't stop us.
That's right. If you haven't watched Felt-Alongs and you're kind of just looking at that tutorial list, they're different in that they're interactive and chatty and longer because it's
We're not editing
really
it.
real time. There's no
Yeah.
editing. Sarah works and then stops and talks and kind of waits for people to catch up, and so they're a little different. They're probably not as specifically. Well, we had overhead, not as specifically like.
In the beginning, we didn't do overhead because we were just
Yeah,
starting.
you'll watch the evolution of our online capabilities as well.
We were here almost every Saturday. Yeah, that was something.
What else were we doing?
No, really.
What else were we doing?
Nothing.
It was a lot of fun. But
That
that
was.
was fun to revisit. And we even surprised ourselves. We're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
How did we do that many? So definitely go watch the Felt-Alongs.
Okay, so I saw a question about the hound tutorial. That's the idea. Is that the tricky thing with doing a dog from the start was which one, because they're all so different. I chose the hound because it is the typical body type, the square. The face could very easily be a lab or, I don't know, it just seemed sort of one of the more generic. And then in the tutorial, we make the dachshund, the bulldog, and the borzoi armatures. So yes, it should give you a pretty good foundation to make these other dogs. I'd say that the bulldog is actually the most different because their heads are huge and their chests are really wide. So that one would probably be the one that's most different and difficult to make. Hi, Yuki. So the hummingbird
Are you saying
is
level?
I'd say a 2. It's refined and
Just it's so small. It's a little.
it's so small. There's some tight wrapping and some small details. It would be good if you had some
Something
experience
else.
with something else, but I can't remember how the supply pack itself is rated.
Well,
but
we don't have it in a level because without having a pack. We have Hummingbird locks, but we don't have a pack, so it's not rated. Does that make sense? The level.
we don't have a pack.
Yeah.
That's right. That's why. Spacing.
That's
out.
why. It's all good.
Okay. Should I talk about the?
Well, we should.
What should we do?
You talked about the fibers.
Mm-hmm.
Did you describe? I should be paying attention, seeing as how I'm sitting here. But I was reading some of this stuff. Did you describe for the brand new people how the levels work? That it is cumulative.
Yes, we will back it up.
We occasionally get questions about either how do you order those items, like they're not an item on the website, they just get added to your box to whatever regular items you're ordering off the website is basically how that works.
Okay, we'll do a couple of top questions. The Annex is the Fiber Fairy giveaway so far in history has always been for supplies on the website, not related to the Annex tutorials. The giveaway tiers are additions to your purchase. So you shop on the website, buy what you want, and then at $25, we are adding to your purchase the off-white chunky core. And it usually comes in at about a 20 to 25% value, additional value, which is great. And so today, with a purchase of $25, and you might look for things that sometimes we have a very specific tutorial or a felt along that goes with the fiber fairy.
Like you might want tacky wrap strips.
Right.
Tacky wrap sticks.
Tacky wrap sticks or
today's-
sticky buns if you don't have that for making the hummingbird. Face Ace is helpful, or the Zoli tool. So you just kind of shop for other things that you need, and then we're adding 2 ounces of off-white chunky core, and then I believe at 45, 2 ounces of these 2 bright colors, which are in how do I say that? They're not going to be in stock anymore. Maybe discontinued.
They are going to be discontinued.
Discontinued, yeah. And then we have a variety of top coat, 4 different colors. We have raspberry, cotton candy, petunia, and iris.
So that's at $65. So if you spend $65 on a supply pack and tacky wrap and
all of these
whatever
things.
tool, all of those things get added to your box.
And these are a couple of my favorite colors for use in hummingbirds and otherwise. It was ash and sea mist. I love, so it goes hush, sea mist, currant, and then the earth, ash, nut family. Those 2 merino colors. I do end up putting in a lot of things that we make because I really like them. And then about a 14-inch length of onion tussa, which will go a long way. It's such a beautiful color. Talbot, do we have the overhead on? Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, so at 85, at
All
an
of these
$85
things.
purchase, all of that comes in addition to the items in your order. Somebody did ask what is good for a first timer. So there's a felting for beginners. Is that what we call it? A tab at the top, felting for beginners. If you click into that, it'll introduce you we brainstorm what would be best for someone brand new. And there are some suggested supply packs. The bunny puff is a great one. Goldfish, hedgies.
Hedgies I love, goldfish, elves, sleepy mice and sleepy bunnies we do have as a beginner. They can be a little tricky just to get the shape tight and get it curled. Some of the other projects are even more beginner friendly. So, Talbot, you got a shout out.
People are asking for spring hints.
Oh my gosh, you guys!
The big one.
I have to say, there's 2 things that I'm currently very excited about and sort of infatuated with, and that is getting the blankets launched and the big fiber fairy in March. So, hints?
No.
Except to say, what can we say? I'm very excited about it, and it's going to be a fun day, a fun project. Hopefully we raise a lot of money for Heifer International, and I've been working on it since the new year, but that's pretty much all I've been doing. Not all I've been doing, but a big part of what I've been doing around here. And it pulls together old techniques. I think what is so exciting about it to me is it's techniques that we already have and know, but they can be combined in this any scale, any kind of infinite kind of way in terms of which fibers, which scale, anyway.
Right.
So I'm excited.
There's a lot of possibilities for everyone.
And I don't think there is any comparable project out there.
Probably not.
Yeah. So breaking new ground in the felting world is not easy anymore. So that's all I can say, I think. So March 31st, we have 6 weeks to recoup.
Someone heard the word blanket when she tuned in.
Yes, yeah, it's not so much a collaborative fanfare project as a job for me, and it's going to have its own website, but it is something that I really want to focus on and try to have ready for the fall, for Christmas shopping, and yeah.
The 31st.
The 31st.
Right.
March 31st.
I don't have it on the calendar.
Okay, well, we will put it on the calendar.
We'll get it on the calendar. We do have the sketch along on the calendar.
Oh yeah, the sketch along. If there's any questions about the sketch along, we will be sharing the reference images soon. All you'll need is, I think I'm going to work 14 by 11. It's just a little bit nicer than regular size paper. And sometimes I like to use charcoal, but a pencil is fine. The idea is to share ideas about drawing and drafting, and all the little things that tools that you can use, the things that are going to go through my mind as I draw, I'm going to share. I think people think that it's kind of this magical process that some people are just born with. Maybe there's a tiny element of that, but there's so much to learn, and it's attainable, and I'm really excited to share that.
I need to learn.
Yeah, good. I would. Well, like you did when you did the painting
Drawing?
with me, you did great.
Well, yeah, I was sitting with you. Sarah's a really good teacher. So do the sketch along.
Yeah.
Because it's especially, I have not really taken art classes or anything, so I've never been taught how to draw or how to see things, and it's really helpful.
So what I want to find, I did a little poll, and human face was the top runner, which is great. The faces are hard, and the reason faces are hard is because we're looking at ourselves, we're looking at each other every day, and our brain sort of has burned into it what a face is and what it looks like and where things are. And you would think that would make it easier, but in fact, that image sort of interrupts sometimes reality, and it wants to override what we're really seeing and where the lines really go, because we think we're so familiar with it. So the face is challenging. I plan to start with some simple shapes, just to start some of the ideas of drafting. And so we'll probably do 2 things, and then we'll do the face. And I encourage you to observe, sketch all the time. It helps your felting. If your goal is more realism, then sketching is a great complement to sculpture of any kind.
So that is on the calendar. It's 1:00 on Friday, March 10th, and it will be on the YouTube channel as well after. So if you can't do it live, we also will have a newsletter coming out within the next week or so ish with reference images in the next week or 2. So we'll have those images for you.
It would be cool if, how far away are we? A little less than a month, 3 weeks or so. If we got the newsletter out, if anyone wanted to draw the images on their own, and sort of have a before, like, how you do the first time, and then see where you are after the sketch along. I felt like there was another question in there somewhere.
I'm scrolling back.
So I'm going to grab this. Talbot, you could go back to the overhead. I'm going to grab this one. It's easiest one to get.
We are teasers. You know we're not going to tell you.
Yeah,
So
I
if you
know.
ask, you know we're just going to tease you.
Oh, and the basket, the raffle
Oh yeah, that's fun.
is
That's
like,
getting fun.
is great.
Is that tripod or the stand touching the desk in any way? 'Cause
No.
It's like wiggling.
It's probably because I'm just putting my bum down in my seat like a like an ogre. Is it wiggling on the regular or just?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Just tell people to drink their ginger tea and avoid.
Oh my
sea
gosh! Why
sickness.
is it doing that?
It's really not touching.
It's not touching anything.
I mean, it's pretty close to your
Okay,
chair.
it seems so steadied a little bit. Okay. I have some notes. Actually made these several weeks ago, so I'm a little, a little far removed. But I used the feather technique to make the wings and tail. And why is it out of focus? Oh no, that's just my bad.
Our bad quality.
Yeah, our bad quality. Okay. And always I have to remind myself to use less.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just turns out better. Ooh, I just flew through
Yeah,
the
I'm
air
trying to move you out of the way
of myself. So these wings I feel like are even a little bit chunky. Like, and this one, okay, just traveling
We're
around.
like,
The one that I'm gonna demonstrate on, I got them more delicate. Another thing you can do, hummingbirds sort of have this, you could cut, so they're folded over, it's just a feather, and they're folded over and ironed. You could cut this one shorter and then just have this one stick out. Here, I'll do it. I'm gonna just move these out of the way. Yeah, that's probably good right now, Talbot. So I can cut this shorter and then just have that one be longer. And then I would use the thinning shears on this and then iron it again. So you kind of get a double layer of feathers, which is cool. I guess I better do this side now that I did that side. But like I said, these are a little chunky. I can do better with that. And then this tail, what?
Bonnie Roberts said, she's so bold with those scissors. I hear that.
Yeah. So see how thick that is? They should be thinner. This tail, I put oh no, it's a feather. So I made a feather. I pulled all of the fiber in alignment and then ironed it. There's a little wire in there.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. This is a set of wings that I made for this guy.
So anyone who wants to make a hummingbird, go to the felt along that we did, and then Sarah's showing you now how to put the wings on. So
You'll
kind
have
of
to
a
watch.
combo.
You have to watch the feather tutorial if you want to do this style.
Mm-hmm.
You have to watch the feather tutorial.
Which I believe is linked on the plume palette.
Mm-hmm.
So, would pinking shears work to give a pointed edge?
Yes, that would give you an irregular edge, which you might want. You totally could experiment with that. I have a pair here somewhere, but okay. So my wires started out between 8 and 9 inches, and I tried both I'm not totally remembering the gauge of our jewelry wires, but I'm using the heavier gauge. The small gauge, it's so delicate. I don't really need it in this case. And then I'm using the feather technique. So this is sort of what the wings look like before they get folded over, but I'm going to make this into a tail. I know what I need.
Does a clothes iron or a hair flat iron work?
A clothing iron. Yeah, flat iron might work on these.
You just can't. Well,
on
you
the
can
small
sort of
things.
regulate the temperature on that. What do you need?
They're right here. I'm sorry, the camera's gonna wiggle. I see them.
Hey Kyla, there's a couple people saying like, could you tell them about using a different browser?
Yeah, I saw that. I was just while Sarah's moving. People who are having trouble getting on the calendar. My guess is when you have to do that robot, I'm not a robot thing, and over it never lets you in. You're probably using Safari as your web browser. So you're either on your iPad or your iPhone, and that's what browser automatically comes up. It's a problem for. I did a search on it, and like across Google, across all of the sites, it's a Google Calendar embedded. And Safari, they don't play nice. So you need to use a different browser. So Google Chrome or Firefox, or that might mean getting an app on your device to have access to our website using Chrome. So, okay.
Okay.
Someone did ask again what gauge wire.
It's the heavier of the two. I don't remember what the gauge is.
The little spools that we have on the site. I will find
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
So to put the tail on, well, let me do the wings first.
We have 24 and 30 in the.
It's the 30. I have about 1.5 inches left of my wire. And all I did was put it on and then just tighten these around. I don't twist them together or anything because I don't like to make a big kind of chunk in the hummingbird.
If somebody put Angelina in their wings, could they iron?
Oh, that's a good question.
It might.
I don't know.
There's one kind that is okay with heat, and one that maybe
One you're even supposed to use with heat,
Right.
maybe.
I would experiment.
Yeah.
Like before you go make your favorite wing, make a little thing, try to iron it and see what happens.
Oh my goodness, he's wacky. I'll fix it. I think my body is real mushy. And so I'm putting this on and it's wacky. Oh my gosh. I really hope the video looks better than what I'm seeing.
I'm clarifying again. This is the heavier or this thinner of the
Heavier.
two? Oh, so it should be the 24.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right.
24.
I gotta use this. I've gotta use this off-white chunky core. And then after the wing is on, I'm gonna take a thin but kind of longish strip for the size. What?
Somebody microwaved Firestar.
Ah,
It didn't blow up.
creative. And I'm gonna do an X to get all of that wire covered.
Did you reverse needle the head at all to have the different colors?
No,
That's just blending.
that's just blending lots of colors. This, I did use some colors that aren't in the giveaway. Well, all of them I did, because that's the way the hummingbirds go. Like, there's so many options. So it has a mix of colors.
What do you have in that blue? I feel like I see. Do you have some mint julep?
Mm-hmm. I don't
You know what's in
remember.
there? Kiwi.
It's like silk and merino and top coat. It's a lot. so now we have his wings on and the wing wires covered. A little patch right there.
Is there also some of this core in there in the coloring and then mixed with?
Yeah, you could use the core in with the colors.
So this, you've got some raspberry. Mint julep is a beautiful color.
Mm-hmm.
Thyme? Trying to think. People are interested in suggestions.
Yeah. I'd say
Those are
like look at top coat, look at merino, and go for the vivid colors. Now on the wings, I mixed, this one's a little different, but on these guys, I mixed the ash and the the ash and the sea mist, and you could put the pink lemonade into it to lighten them up, but their wings are usually more neutral, so I was going for a more neutral color and then let the body have all of the vivid colors. I put the onion in the wings as well. Yeah, I think these two, the onion and the pink lemonade, was what I mixed for the wings. And you can change it up. You don't have to put these. You could just do these, or you could just do these. It's really fun because you can take small amounts of fiber and have what you need.
Somebody asked if the mini stabbits will be back in stock soon. We have had a very difficult time sourcing the ones that we had offered. Right now in the clearance closet, there are
they still in there?
There are some in there. Sorry.
That's okay. So they came in not the quality that we like. So they work.
Yeah, they will be fine. The weave on the burlap just is a little,
it
just seems a little loose. But that would be a good thing to pick up.
Line coat adhesive on the goods and faves. I don't know what that is. Anyway, have fun mixing your colors. Which one was that?
I think you were using it for mounting your 2D pieces when you were framing them.
Oh, right. Yes, that was suggested to me. I was figuring out how to take the felted 2D pieces and attach them to foam core. And I don't love to glue things, but it really was a great option. And supposedly it's water-based and can be reversed to a degree to let go. I haven't experimented with that, but that's what that's there for. So now, I'm going to put the tail on, and then I can finish with all my little colors and such. So to do the tail, I want to make little kind of like eye hooks. I've got a bit of extra wire here. I'm going to cut off. Don't need it that long. And then I believe this was a Sabine and Delisa suggestion. I might be doing it a little differently than their idea, but almost like you're making little fish hooks. And then I feel like the hummingbird tail is more like wide at the base and then like it's a fan, you know.
Just cutting away.
Like this. But yeah, you could encourage this into like more of an individual feather look. I'm gonna round this out just a little bit. And then you put the little eye hooks on his back and get some core wool. Make a
Organize.
little poof, a little crisscross of core wool. And then there's a lot of wire here to get around, so I would use a single needle.
There's some questions about the wisteria back there
Mm.
and about the fiber fairy's wings, and do we show how to do wings?
The fiber fairy's wings, so she's a new fiber fairy. I used my female figure course figure that I made and gave her wings, and we can take her down and share her.
We did a tree topper. Did you do wings on the tree topper?
I don't
It's
remember.
like a long time
Yeah.
ago, and I feel like you made.
I can show it. I didn't do the feather technique on her because I like her look to be sort of more natural, like locky. I mean, that's her whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not complicated. I'll show you in 1 second. Yeah, so that really sticks on there. It's really locked in. And that's great whenever you need to attach something that is wires like that. Give it something that it's going to hook to. And now he's ready for all of his
Top coat.
other colors. Yeah. Which I don't have the sort of mindset to do on camera right now. Yeah.
Well, this is a fiber fairy chat, not
Yeah.
a tutorial.
Can you reach her?
tutorial. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yes, she is just lovely. I used 14 gauge, I believe, and then wrapped probably 22 gauge floral wire and then extended that out a little bit. I can't remember. Sometimes when I put wings on, it's kind of like doing the horns or antlers. I go around, and so I go like I went under her chest and then just cross them in the back, pull it tight, and pulled it out each way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can do a second wire right across the back, which would be the equivalent of going around the head and pulling them up, and then doing a second wire on top of the head and twist them together. And then
That would be on the goat to watch that.
the reindeer, the goat.
Just if someone really wants to
right.
go back and watch that
Right.
in action.
Yeah, her dress was fun. It's just a sweater, a cashmere sweater sleeve. And then I laid out the locks and maybe a little bit of Arctic and maybe a little bit of Sarafina white, just to be the real, to give it the felting adhesion that it needed, and then folded it over the wire. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, she's just, it's not super complicated. A piece of wisteria.
Best one to take down.
Maybe we should get one.
Okay.
We're gonna show you the wisteria
Like
over there. Yeah. Which is the same as the feather. It's the feather technique. So I made hand spun. This is a thick and thin in the purple, and then plied onto the green, and I made beehives. And then it's wired using the same technique to make the wings as we make the wings and the tail to make the bunch. And then this is wet felted, like making a frog skin or any of the other wet felting we've done. And then same thing, wired, basically using the feather technique, just giving more space between them. And instead of using loose fiber, I used my wet felted leaf shapes. So that is, I was going for, you know, a life-size scale that was representative, but
Someone had us Termini's woolly tool.
yeah, so fun.
Do we have any Marrakesh on the table right now? We do
No.
not.
Mm-mm. No. All right, Talbot, I think I'm finished with demo phase.
Oh, beautiful.
So what else can I tell you about my hummingbirds? Let's see. Okay, so the wires I said were about 8 to 9 inches. I pulled about 20 tufts for each wing, and just like super thin. I'd never go wispy enough. I can't. It's like I can't make myself do it or something. And then the actual length. Well, so it's 20 tufts, and then the length of twisted wires is about 2 inches. So I tried, instead of swax on the nose, I used the cold wax, which worked great. You don't have to heat it up. Just wrap your wire really thin, and then once that beak is wrapped, put some cold wax on your fingers and just press it in. It worked great. Yeah, that's all my updates on that.
Just checking to see if I missed any questions.
Talbot, does the tacky wrap have shea in it? It doesn't. Does not.
Okay.
No.
I had asked her to
Yeah.
email because I did
Yeah.
not know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Making
Get
the
them all
Wisteria
confused.
yarn was a lot of fun. That was my project last weekend, I think, and making the thick and thin is a little stressful because you're like, it's like it's going, and you're like, is it thick? Is it thin? But then once that's finished and you're just plying and making the beehives, it's just like this wonderful, wonderful rhythm watching it all come together. And I'm working on this in part just to do something, you know, just to make something big, and also I'm maybe could work for the art show in the spring that I'm curating, a local art show. We'll see.
How long is the beak? And then it goes into the body. So
Yeah, I
Beak is
use about
body.
a 5-inch wire. It'll be on the felt along, but my beaks are 1.5 to 2 inches, I guess. You know, they're different. Different. This one's a little more delicate than this guy.
it's good people are experimenting with the power wax.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still experimenting with it. I'm having a good time with it.
Sarah's yarn was made on a spinning wheel.
Country spinner, the Ashford country spinner, which is really the only one I'm using. We have several different wheels here, and it's so easy. It's not finicky. It's really straightforward. It's a little bit strong, so it might be a little bit hard to learn on, but once you get it, you can do thin, you can do art yarn. But I love it. Has just great big spools, great big orifice, so can do anything.
Trisha, I can't talk today. Not the best day to not be able to
I know.
speak
feel
words.
the same way.
Ooh.
I'm having second coffee this morning.
Tell us about the art show you're curating.
It's not fiber related. I was invited by the Newark Art Alliance to curate a juried show, which is like, I'm honored. I've never had that kind of invitation before. And I believe the theme is nature, large and small. And it's in May. I have it on my calendar. And I will, the artists will submit their work, and then I get to pick. I get to pick who's in and who's out, which will be, maybe that won't be hard at all. Maybe, it'll be just right and not difficult, but it's an unknown because I've never done it before. And then I can have a piece in the show. So it's up for a month. So that'll be fun.
Any news on the blending board?
Oh my gosh, the blending board. The news changes. It's like, why do they say it's like, it's going to be here in December, and then it's not. And then, so no.
It's February.
And even if I had news, I wouldn't tell you because it keeps changing. Oh, the sheep and wool. I don't know what
be there?
I don't know what I'm doing about that.
We don't know.
I know. And if we will decide. We will decide soon. And if we're going, we'll let everyone know. Yeah, that's sort of.
It'd be very weird not to go.
It would be.
But
That
we
sort
need
of
to look
slipped
at calendars.
away
Yeah,
from
we
me
need to
this
look
year.
at calendars and see what's happening. Will there be a spinning tool demo? The drop spindle we were wanting to combine with
the blending board.
boards because really they completely go together. So that's why that has been on hold.
I mean, we could start learning to use the drop spindle. This type of top coat is great because it's a slightly longer staple. It's has a little bit of texture. It's not too slippery, and it's already on the thin side, so it's not hard to draft. So we could start learning, and then get more when we get the blending boards. Get into making Rolags and
With different fiber and locks and everything. There was a question before that one that I wanted to.
Oh, the power wax.
Yeah, so you're not going to show spinning per se.
We're probably not, because there are spinners who are so much more knowledgeable than I am.
Like YouTube.
Yeah,
tutorials.
Yes, tons. I mean, I watched the YouTube tutorial to remember how to do beehives, and tons of videos out there. And not that every video we make is about something we sell, but we don't carry spinning wheels. And
someone did ask about linking one on the goods and faves, the one that you really
like. Yeah, it's the Ashford Country Spinner. You could find it. I'm sure something like the Woolery probably has it, or there's definitely fiber businesses that specialize more in spinning, and they'll have a variety. I feel like Ashford is like one of the top, like they all have the most to offer.
So do you need to add pigment to the power wax?
Power wax is clear.
Okay.
So it'll show whatever color is underneath. It's a little lighter than Swax.
It dries clear. It doesn't look clear when you put it on.
It's white. I'd say that we used it on the bat wings. So that was the biggest surface that I've done. I haven't used it like extensively yet. I'm still figuring out how I want to use it and where it works.
How about having a Sarafina festival?
Oh my gosh, that comes up a lot. Marcia was on you missed it. She was on fire. She probably talked for 4 hours, 5 hours straight, and one of her trains of thought was a conference or a convention. And and we have put our brain on that a few times. She has a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
It's just every time I go there, I get overwhelmed by it. I mean, if I were invited and we're all done.
Right.
How fun would that be? But, and part of me would love to be the one to pull it all together, but that would be a huge job.
Oh yeah, the idea
Because
that,
it could be so big.
yeah,
Like,
the,
where do you stop?
the idea that we keep coming to for that is like a retreat, not a convention
Right. Like we just pick a place.
that has a spa.
Everyone comes and has a spa. And everyone just brings their stuff and we work together versus,
Workshops.
vendors, workshops, demos, like, all that kind of stuff.
Sounds like a lot.
I'm picturing like lanyards and badges and conference rooms and schedules and, yeah. We had the whole cruise conversation, and then a lot of people were like, no cruises.
Nothing against cruises. It is the motion. It's the motion piece for me.
Oh, Sarafina color wheel. Yes. And that was, that idea was in the works. I'm not sure if I can pull it off anytime soon, but Sarafina blend colors was.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
Well, fiber's labeled, almost all of it now
Yes.
that's headed out the door. You'll see with today's orders, it's labeled, named
Yes.
and labeled, and the labels are reusable. There's like a sticky back on them that you could put on bins or put on your own piece of paper to make your own fiber guides. So that's something that we talked about, and we're like, no, it's big. It's really big. It took a long time to get there.
It's like the convention or the retreat might be
Yes.
like that. I don't say never.
Right.
I just there's a
Not
there's a
everything has
timing
time.
for
Yep.
everything.
Hang around and needle and wet felt in our pajamas.
That sounds
that's
lovely.
That's more what we're talking about.
Yeah. Just transition from coffee to snacks and back, and then to wine later.
Rena asked, how did your art class go that you were taking?
Oh, thanks. So good. I learned so much. If you want to check out the website, it's Adriano Farinella, and he does online workshops, in-person workshops. Super dedicated teacher. I'm gonna I'm so impressed by him, and then this is gonna sound like I'm patting my own back, but he does in painting what we're doing in needle. He shares everything. He's super knowledgeable. He very talented. Any technique, supply, brand, he knows all the different painting surfaces, all the different brushes, all the different paint brands, all the ins and outs of the different mediums. Just incredible. So if painting is something that you're interested in, I would check that out. And a lot of people, he teaches from beginners to professional artists, and depending on which class. So my workshop that I took was 8 weeks. We were there every Tuesday morning, and it was an open studio. So he was not teaching anything specifically. Everyone was there to design their own curriculum, work on what they felt like they needed to improve upon. And mine was figures and skin tones and portraits. I did not get too much into portraits, but I painted, probably about 8 figures over the course of the 8 weeks, some more complete than others. And I learned a ton. I learned a lot. She's in the, one of them is in the female figure course information. So.
Someone's asking the difference between top coats and merino as far as composition and uses. Merino,
I generally blend if I'm needle felting. I do not love to needle felt with merino. It's on the fine side, and it's what I would describe as like slippery. It's slick, and because it's so fine and it's very straight. Our top coat line is a slightly longer staple and has a little bit more kinkiness to it, so it has a little more texture. You can absolutely needle felt. Both of them work very well for wet felting. I'd say merino is probably the predominant fiber for wet felting because it wet felts well, it has very saturated colors, and it wet felts fully and smoothly. In part, so the merino line originally for me was like as a blender, and then as I got more into wet felting, the merino line is its own thing because you just use merino to wet felt. And then now doing things like the feathers and such, I'm blending merino and silk mainly when I make feathers. Adriano, it's Adrianno. FAR. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
I have it linked. I think it's one.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Oh, one N. Okay, I thought it was two N's.
His website's linked up there also.
Mm-hmm. His website's great. He's very thorough about his presentation on his website and in his newsletters, and he's also on Instagram. He's known for clouds. He paints beautiful sort of skyscapes.
Brenda says, how hard is it to do? I think she meant a pre-felt
Mm-hmm.
material.
Mm-hmm. You can needle felt a pre-felt, or you can lightly wet felt a pre-felt. It's not hard. It just, if you need something very consistent, then, taking your time to make sure that your layers are even.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we sell the merino pre-felt and other pre-felt, because we're able to either source it or make it very consistent. But that's kind of what pelts are when we make
Mm-hmm.
pelts.
Bonnie's asking, is it normal for fibers to get shorter when hand carding? It makes the blends harder to wrap.
Maybe the fibers are somewhat breaking, because there's some fiber that is pretty easy to break. Let me see. Yeah, like
You're taking it out of its roving form also.
you're taking it out of its roving form. So when it's roving, you can draft it along to itself. It's all lined up, and so it might seem longer, but yes, when you take it out of roving form, it's shortest, and it might break down a little bit. So you can, after you hand card, you could try to restack and create that roving kind of look, so that when you wrap, at least it's in alignment and one fiber is linking to the next, versus a bunch of fluff that's hard to work with. For the hummingbird, we are referring everyone to the hummingbird felt along to see how to make the hummingbird. So that's where the beak is covered, and then the wings and tail are made using the feather technique. And earlier in this video, I showed how to put them on, so you can watch later. But then also check out the feather tutorial. I am not doing in-house workshops. I have not picked that back up since the pandemic, and really I don't know when I will. So
we are doing a few studio work days in studio.
Oh yeah, we need to get the next one on the calendar. That will be in the newsletter that we send out in the near future, along with the sketch along information. Maybe I can pick 2 dates. So we're doing some in studio work hours, actually inspired by the painting class that I took. So just bring in your project, and I'm here to help. There won't be any instruction, but I absolutely can troubleshoot, help you pick out fiber, and help in any way with feedback and armatures and proportions and all that kind of stuff. It was fun. The last time I had, I think, just 2 people here.
Was it just 2?
Just 2, yeah. But it was nice. It's nice to get together.
Well, and then whoever else is here, you can bounce ideas off of them as well. So
yeah. So the difference between a Rolag and roving, roving is a sort of a rope form, all in alignment, somewhat. And a Rolag is made off of, like, so on the blending board, for example, it's about, I don't know, maybe I'll just say 16 by 20. I think it's a little smaller than that. And all the fibers are going down the blending board, or if you do it off of a drum carder, they're all lined up on the drum carder. And then you take a dowel and you roll a part of that lined up fiber around the dowel and slide it off. I don't have any at hand easily, but so it's like a rolled up, like a pumpkin roll. And then if you're going to spin with it, you just come off the end, and it's kind of nice because it sort of controls the draft a little bit. Whereas with roving, it's real easy when you're spinning for it to get away from you. But in a Rolag, since everything's going this way, it comes off real with a little bit of resistance. So, and you get all these different colors going on. It's a lot of fun. Core wool, you can wet felt with core wool. It's very fluffy, so it can be a lot to lay down depending on what you're doing. It does wet felt. Maybe if you were making something like a cat cave, you would want that
kind of base
layer, right?
Well, you could wet felt with the batting. If you flaked off batting, that essentially is
a starter
core wool,
yeah.
And it would give you a bit of a thicker base.
Is there going to be a new project wet felting wise? Am I allowed to say that it's yes? I'll just say yes.
Sure.
I love all the questions. I love question and answer time. It's nice. It's like, I don't see everything on Facebook, obviously, and it's nice to interact in real time, hear what you guys are thinking about, and can you make short roving back into longer roving by drafting? You mean like a short piece? Sure. That's any time that I wrap in a tutorial and I take a 6-inch piece of core and then I split it in half and then I say, and then I tug on it. So yes, I can draft a 6-inch piece into, if I did it carefully enough, I could make it an 18-inch piece.
What if you have a couple short pieces? Can you make it into roving again?
What do you mean? That's what I'm doing. Oh, a couple of short pieces. Make that into roving again?
Like multiple pieces? I don't know. That's how I'm reading the question.
Okay.
You can kind of restack and
You can kind of restack. When I'm working with like little bits, I don't get into trying to reuse in that way. I feel like I would rather, especially if I'm wrapping or 3D needle felting, I would rather work with the right piece that's going to give me the most success than something that might have a weak spot. But yeah, I sort of did it.
When making flower stems, how do you secure the wool to the wire firmly?
Tight wrap using swax or the
Tacky wrap?
Tacky wrap on the wire is great. Using a tacky wrap stick is great. Then sometimes with stems, instead of wrapping, I roll. So I hold the I think they can just see this in the regular camera. I hold the fiber against the wire, and instead of wrapping it around, I take the wire and I roll it, and that allows you to really smooth the wire, the wool against the wire. And then, the power wax, the cold wax medium, is working really well to secure ends. I find myself using that more instead of swax, just because it's at hand and very easy.
Is your mug made by Deneen Pottery?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Did you post the Chronicles blog anywhere? On the main homepage of our website, if you scroll down a tiny bit, it's there. And it is also under the blog tab.
Mm-hmm. We'll keep adding to that. It's a lot of fun getting the stories and
it's funny. Anne's using all of her wool.
We used to carry strapped drum carters. Unfortunately, they went out of business. They were the best as far as in my experience. But we don't have drum carters anymore. If you are really into felting and have the means, a drum carter, you will not regret the purchase. So all these little bits you're talking about and making them back into roving, that is the way to go. And blending colors, and I mean, it opens up a whole new world for you, because you can blend colors easily. You can blend enough for your project, you can blend to spin. Swax is a little shiny. Yeah.
Would you suggest using Tussa silk with merino for wet felting a scarf?
Sure. You could use mulberry silk. It just depends on the look that you want.
Well, and do you want like a heavier scarf or a super lightweight scarf that what's that? Technically Nuno felting if you're going like between a piece of silk?
If you're using the silk fabric, then then it's Nuno felting. Yeah, it's been a big span between fiber fairies, because at the end of the year we're doing the sales and occupied with the holidays. So I'm excited for the sketch along. I'm super excited for the next fiber fairy, and it'll be nice to be live more often and sharing all these things.
How to blend silk with merino on the drum carter. That's
Sometimes I just put it right in. It can overwhelm the drum carter because the silk is long and it's strong. So the other option is to feed it on the back as it's going around. Instead of running it through the liquor in, just put it right onto the drum. Then once you've done that, then you can run it through again and it'll incorporate better. But all brands of drum carters have their little finicky kind of ways, so what works on one might not work on another.
Trisha thinks our woodworkers could make awesome blending board bases. You are right.
That's true.
They could.
That's true. We could go that route. It would be more expensive is the problem.
And
because our woodworker's highfalutin.
We try not to overwhelm him also. Because I think we do sometimes already with Zula tools and face aces and hand carters.
Yeah.
2D Highland cow.
Oh yeah, that's been rolling around. I have lists of possibilities.
I see a question, how many layers, but I'm not seeing what. Did you just say something that would make sense with how many layers?
Oh.
For felting a scarf? Is that what it would go back to?
Maybe. It just depends on how fine you want it, how thick you want it. I would say at least 3. Just they're real even, thin layers. You want it like to have some drape, you know. That would be the challenge.
Is there a new Annex course you're working on?
No.
Not right
I
now.
have I have projects developed that could be the next Annex, but I don't have it kind of in the schedule. I hope to do at least one this year. Yeah, that was the other interesting thing. Kyla printed out all of the videos that we made each year. So it's interesting to see.
What we did.
Some years, one year we did 3 big ones.
Mm-hmm.
So for the gorilla skin, I would experiment with the power wax because it's not as heavy. It does stay malleable like the swax. So one more time, the Fiber Fairy is 2 ounces of off-white chunky core is the first tier. Then the second tier is a 2-ounce bundle of core. It's fuchsia and azure. That's the pink and the bright blue. Then the third tier is approximately 1.5 ounces of iris, petunia, raspberry, and pink lemonade. And then the last tier is approximately 1 ounce of sea mist and ash belted with 14 inches of onion tussa. That whole bundle is about 1 ounce. What else?
I'm not seeing
Yeah.
really questions.
All right, we should get to shipping.
Whole day ahead.
I have to buy everybody lunch.
Ooh.
I know, it's exciting. Where to get lunch?
It is 11:17.
Mm-hmm.
Like thinking lunch. All right.
Well, thank you all so much for being here this morning, and thank you for your patronage today or any day. And I can't wait to
Someone wants to see your wings again.
Oh, they want to see your wings. I'm like, why are you showing them her butt?
Show all the
And we're going to go ship our little hearts out and
get you your goodies.
and then start concentrating on what's next.
Wendy, if you spend 60, is it 60 or 65? You get, it's cumulative.
Okay, so it goes 25, 45. It's 65 is the third.
So if you spent 60, you would get the first two bundles.
So you're very close to the third one if you have a $5 item you want to put in there.
All right. Thank you, everybody.